Nico just made a huge mistake, and I'm about to tell you why Tennessee should have everyone's respect.
You are Locked On College Football with Spencer McLaughlin, your daily podcast on all things college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Locked On College Football. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin. Thank you so much for making this your first listen or your first view every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day and your daily source to stay up to date with the biggest stories in this, the greatest sport on planet Earth, however crazy it may be. All Nico chatter day because there is so much to get to. This episode brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money, because you want to take control of your finances, right? That's what you do with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So this escalated really quickly. Ron Burgundy in Anchorman style. Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast. Brick killed a guy. All right, no one's dead here except Nico's career as a Tennessee Volunteer, which is crazy. He was just in the playoff. They just went 10-2. And he went and wanted more money in NIL. Tennessee said, no. Okay, let's start with the Nico angle on this. He is going to be worse off. Whether this is his decision, whether this is a decision made by people around him that are advising him to do this, that, and the other thing, I don't care. The end result, he is going to be worse off. The most likely destination, not the only one certainly, the most likely destination for now the highest rated, not just player in the transfer portal, but quarterback as well, and the only one with real starting experience at a high level, is UCLA. Okay, UCLA's win total in the Big Ten is tied for the lowest at 4.5, or among the lowest at 4.5. That's not a place that you are going to, and that Nico is just going to suddenly elevate. By the way, is he going to get as much money as he was seeking? Tennessee was giving him $2 million a year. They put their foot down and said, no, we're not going up to 4. Nico and his camp wanted 4 per year. Is UCLA going to do that? Is that a worthwhile endeavor? I don't know. Here's what I do know. You're not going to UCLA, and even if they give you the money, you are not going to enjoy playing football as much. That is a fact of life. Nico is not the sort of player that goes and right now in his career is going to just change a program. Is going to just be inserted like Cam Ward was down at Miami, where he shows up and all of a sudden it's the best season of Mario Cristobal's career. They're pushing for a playoff spot. You're not doing that at UCLA. You don't have the roster to go toe-to-toe with everybody in the Big Ten. Sure, he'd make UCLA better, or heck, USC could be an option as well, depending on how they feel on Jaden Maiava. He could make both of those teams potentially better. He does not make them as good as Tennessee would have been this past year. So, and by the way, I don't suspect that USC is quite as interested as UCLA based on what I've heard. Look, I'm all fired up about this. I'm banging my desk. I mean, this is crazy. It's absolute insanity. So when Nico went into the portal, my first thought was, what's he doing? Why is it? And the answer is he wants more money. Well, if you're going to go somewhere that's just wanting to give you the money, I hope there's another team there that you're going to be surrounded by that'll make you a better football player and who you make better. He might make them a little bit better, but we saw this past year. He had elite receivers, a great running game, and elite top 10 defense in all of college football. And he was under 200 yards passing in about half of his games. His progression was perfectly set up at Tennessee. Same system where he sat for a year coming out of high school, started this past year, showed glimpses, like every single career trajectory to succeed at quarterback was lining up for Nico. And now he's going to go somewhere else where he's got to learn a new system. He's got to get along with new teammates. He's got to vibe with new coaches. Like, this is not going to end well. So I'm not commenting here on who is influencing him or whether it's him making the decision. Don't care. He, from a football standpoint, is going to wind up worse off because he is leaving Tennessee. He is going to wind up worse off. So that's the first part. Here's the second part. I respect what Tennessee just did here. I have been waiting to see when this move was going to arrive from a Power 4 school, and Tennessee's the first one to do it. I give them props. The discussion around college players and getting paid nowadays is all about, well, it's just pro sports. It's semi-pro. It's just like okay, so this was essentially a contract negotiation and holdout, which you see in the NFL all the time. You see it all over the place. So-and-so's not at practice today because he is waiting to see if he gets a bigger contract. And sometimes teams say, yeah, we're going to send you out of town because we don't think you're worth the amount of money that you are asking us for. And by the way, I understand that there are some players and quarterbacks out there in the portal that might be overpaid. Darian Mensah at Duke could be a really good quarterback. One good year at Tulane to $4 million a year, which is what he is reportedly getting in NIL for 2 seasons at Duke. Yeah, that's probably a little bit inflated. And I've felt that not just with college football, but college basketball or a variety of other sports. Like, man, is this guy really worth it? Is this player worth that amount of money? It feels like there has to be a course correction. This could be the start of it. Tennessee could be making a move that sets off a snowball effect across the rest of college football, where schools will be willing to say, if Tennessee's willing to do this with their starting quarterback who just had them in the playoff competing for a national championship, then other teams might be willing to do it for, I don't know, any position on their roster where they say, no, we have a lot of NIL money, but it's not unlimited. And we're about to be paying $20 million a year with revenue from the school because of the house settlement. It's a lot of money. It's not unlimited. We have to be smart about how we budget it. And Tennessee put their foot down, number one, and said, we don't think you're worth that sort of money. I think they are right based on the performance he's had so far. I think he could be worth $4 million after he performs at that level, but that's typically how it goes. Kirk Cousins got all that money. Why? Because he threw for all of those yards. Because he had some proven production. Was he overpaid? Sure. But he got it because his agent's able to get that deal because he can say, look at how many yards he just threw for. Look at what he has done. You'd be paying Nico based on, we think you're capable of that. But you're not giving a guy $4 million a year in NIL for what you think he can be. You are paid in professional sports based on your proven production. Rookie contracts are cheaper. Why? You haven't done anything yet. Once you prove it, then you go out. Think about a guy like Penei Sewell, to choose a non-quarterback position, but it certainly can apply to any quarterback spot. Trevor Lawrence, for instance, was he worth it? I don't know. Maybe not for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but, or Caleb Williams with the Bears. Like, those guys go out and you play out your rookie contract, and then the organization decides, yeah, we think you are worth investing in the maximum amount, or maybe we don't think you are. What those guys are paid on your second contract, that's what everyone always talks about in the NFL. It's not your first contract you get paid big money. It's your second contract. And your second contract comes because your rookie contract years, you look back and go, oh, he was underpaid for the production he gave. You wouldn't say that about Nico right now. There's no way that you would say that. So I applaud Tennessee for saying we're not going to overpay, and we're also not going to be held hostage by a contract negotiation here. We have a program we want to build, a culture we want to establish, and we're trying to go out and win football games. If you don't feel like this is the best place for you to do that, I thought Josh Heupel's comments were a 10 out of 10. There's nothing bigger than the power T. I won with other quarterbacks, like, sounded like an adult in the room. I'd be really happy to have him as my head coach right now if I were a Tennessee fan. But I tell you what, the organization just coming down and saying, hey, we're not going to, the university, athletic department, however you want to see it, them saying, hey, we are not going to just give in no matter what, just because, that might be a trend-setting move in college athletics. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit me up on Twitter. All that good stuff. Where does Tennessee go? Where does Tennessee have any sorts of options? Can they even be a playoff team? I don't know. But I know a guy who does. First, this episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just spending your money and managing it. You start building wealth. That's what you want to be trying to do. All-in-one convenience is what they're all about. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com. for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LockedOnCollege for half off your first year, monarchmoney.com. So what on earth happens next? Eric Cain of Locked On Vols is here to discuss just that. So Nico, starting quarterback, gone. Eric, what else is on Tennessee's roster? Is this still a playoff viable team in your view?
I mean, you got to sit back and kind of regroup and think about things. You already came into the offseason with question about the offensive line at receiver. And now you take out Nico Iamaleava, your starting quarterback, who, sure, was a bust. Absolutely not. Underperformed based on where he was ranked and the hype and all that last year. I'll give you that. His career's not over. I still think he's going to be very, very good. I think he's got all the talent in the world. But you take that off your team now, and so that's just another big question to the most important position in all of sports. Like in terms of playoff, in terms of winning games and all that, these are some shows that I'm going to do this week for sure. Content galore. But Tennessee still has a really good defense. Tennessee, I think offensive line wise is going to be just fine. I love Tennessee's running backs. I think though small in numbers, I think Tennessee's wide receivers are going to be pretty solid. But yeah, this is still going to be a pretty good team. Tennessee's got to find a quarterback that honestly can manage it all, right now, and then kind of go from there. And I think that's possible. I think that's doable. You're probably going to ask me about this. They got 2 quarterbacks on the roster right now. One is Jake Merklinger, who I think had 6 pass attempts last year, like he was a third string. Redshirt freshman coming up, and he's had a fantastic spring, a really good spring. Been talking about him all spring, really, before all this Nico stuff happened. Does that mean he's ready to roll and he's going to be throwing for 300 yards a game in the fall? I wouldn't say that, but he has had a good spring, but he just doesn't have any experience. Then you have an early enrollee, true freshman quarterback in George McIntyre, who, the game's spinning for him right now. He had a really good day in the orange and white game, the spring game, over the weekend, but everything's very new to him. So Tennessee's going to have to go to the portal. Tennessee's going to have to go find a quarterback and, the conversation. More than anything, just to have body, because you only have 2 scholarship QBs in the room right now. So is this still a playoff team? I don't know. That's a conversation I'm going to have, but I don't know the answer to that right now. Certainly, I think FanDuel took Tennessee down from 9.5 to 8.5. Mm-hmm. So I would probably say no right now.
So I look at what this situation brings to the table, and last year you and I have talked about this before, and this was the narrative around Nico coming into the season is, can he take a step forward? Because maybe your defense will be good and maybe your run game will be good, but will it be dominant like it was last year? Probably not. So you need more out of that quarterback position, and you've got a couple of young guys who, as you said, don't have a lot of experience. But when you look at the transfer portal market for quarterbacks right now, Eric, it's pretty slim pickings.
Yeah.
I don't see an option as for all the flaws that Nico has, and you can point those out. That's fine. Who's in the portal? Right, Jaden Rashada. Who's? Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's not a thing. You go from a crazy NIL. Yeah, that's just. Let's. That would be
quite
down.
the pivot. That would be quite the pivot.
That would be. That would be quite the pivot to go from one of the craziest NIL recruitments to the craziest NIL influenced recruitment in recent memory, or maybe of all time in college football. So, but when you look at the portal, where do you even go? Who do you look to? Are you trying to pull somebody else's starting quarterback right now? Or are you scouring message boards not message boards for coaching staffs, but are you physically scouring message boards to figure out, hey, which guy is going to lose his starting quarterback job and suddenly transfer, and then Tennessee could go get him?
I'm not saying that Tennessee is going to do this or whatever, but let's not sit here and act like, players can't be reached out to and spoken to, who are not in the portal. It's going by third parties and agents and all that. You have agents who are shopping around their players regardless before they even jump in the transfer portal. My point is, there will be quarterbacks that jump in the portal here when it officially opens this week. Any of them to the caliber of Nico Iamaleava? No, heck no. Why? Because it's April, 14th. It's April 14th, okay? Who in their right mind thinks they have a great opportunity to go and win a starting job and to play at the caliber that they need to play at a Power 4, specifically the SEC, to try to knock on the door to a college football playoff if you want to transfer on April the 14th? That just doesn't make sense, okay? This is not the December window. This is the April window. So, yeah, there's nobody in the transfer portal right now. having said that, spring practice just wrapped up. Obviously, Nico is a massive domino, okay? It's a massive domino in the college football landscape. Could there be some guys that maybe jump in the portal and or jump in with a no-contact tag on or something? I don't know. We'll see. But, Tennessee will – I don't think it matters who it is. Tennessee will have to get one quarterback for the transfer portal regardless. And you hope that it's a guy that will come in and compete and really push Jake Merklinger and try to win that job, and that'd be awesome. But regardless, I mean, Tennessee doesn't have a choice. They have 2 scholarship quarterbacks, so I don't care if it's the last rated guy in the portal in the quarterback rankings. Like, he's coming to Tennessee if need be, because they've got to add somebody to that room.
So right now, according to 24/7, with the portal open on Wednesday, by the way, we'll see which signal callers wind up changing schools. Or maybe you try to find a quarterback who is already somewhere and you try to get him to pull a Bill O'Brien at Ohio State. Hey, I know you said you were going there, but we're kind of a more attractive option over here because Bill O'Brien was going to be an OC at Ohio State. Instead, he's the head coach at Boston College. They did all right last year. The highest rated quarterback in the portal, not named Nico Iamaleava, is Jaden Rashada, according to 24/7 Sports. Then it's Aiden Glover, who's transferring from Missouri. James Rassar, who's transferring from Iowa. Dylan Risk, transferring from UCF. Trevor Jackson, transferring from Florida State. Those are the 5 highest-rated guys available, according to 24/7. Tate Rodemaker, one-time Florida State Seminole, he's in the portal. There are no names. Like, there's not a clear-cut option out there. So, man, do you go out and find a guy? Is it worth bringing in a transfer who is just going to compete, but you think, he's not really a starting caliber guy? Like, there's a real scenario where a month from now, we feel like Tennessee is almost kind of punting on this season, right? If neither of the young guys can, I know you said one of them is having a really good spring, but if they feel, I don't know, it's not really going to be there, like, could this be a 6-win season for Tennessee?
Oh, God, no. Oh, no, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
Jake Merklinger
Just checking. Just checking.
I think he'll hand the football off and beat probably Mississippi State by 10, right? I mean,
there's no Mississippi State slander on this show, Eric. Mississippi State is going to beat. I have been saying this for months. They're beating someone that nobody thinks they should this year. Look out, Vols. Look out.
That might be hyperbole, but my point is, again, this roster this roster is really good. This defense will be really good. Tennessee's got playmakers. Tennessee, again, the offensive line, I think, is going to be pretty good. The running back room is diverse. There's a lot of guys. There's different type of bodies in there. No, I mean, Tennessee absolutely won't punt on this season. I know they physically wouldn't be trying to, throw the season or anything, but Tennessee, again, it doesn't have a choice. It has to get another quarterback body. So, again, whether it is the lowest-ranked quarterback in the portal when it's all said and done, or somebody jumps in the portal and they get him or whatever, and if it's somebody that's going to come in and compete and have a real chance of starting, or if it's somebody that's just going to come in and be nothing but depth. I mean, Tennessee, at minimum, has got to just get one guy just to get a body. Now, again, spring just wrapped up, for everybody for the most part, right? And, or spring is still ongoing, but the transfer portal was opening this weekend. I mean, you've got backup quarterbacks sitting at places around the country saying, man, this is BS. I want to play. What's going on? I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid anything. I'm not getting the field. This is, the coach hates me. And then you see Nico leave Tennessee, and they're probably been like, hey, see if they have any interest in me. See if they have any interest in me. I mean, that's how these things work. And so there's going to be a lot of guys that jump in the portal. But again, nobody to the level, nobody to the magnitude of a Nico Iamaleava. So it's going to be interesting for sure. But no, to put it plainly, Tennessee will get somebody from the portal. Whether he comes in and starts, I have no clue, but they will get somebody from the portal. And again, no, you're not punting on this team. Now, it's very fair to say, well, I had Tennessee kind of on the brink maybe of a college football playoff team. Now, absolutely not. That's fair, absolutely fair. But this team is too talented to win 6 games.
So last thing, Eric, I liked what Josh Heupel said a lot in the midst of all this. And he's in a tough position, right? How much control does he have over it when you've got a collective involved or anybody who might be in Nico's ear? We have no idea, really. It's a difficult position for a head coach to be in. When you see veteran head coaches in college basketball or college football or college sports in general step aside and say, I'm retiring now, this right here, this is the perfect example as to why. Is situations mostly beyond his control, just lost him as starting quarterback. He's got to throw it, but I thought he came out and gave a great answer.
He was phenomenal the other day. I mean, that was, And right now, the time of this recording, and it's never going to stay like this, right? But you've got the Tennessee football fan base that's unified right now. It's, oh, he don't want to be here. Long be gone. Get out of here, man. You know, line in the sand. Not going to go over it. Way to go, Josh Heupel. Tennessee's not going to take that. I mean, that's great. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of it. That's awesome. Like, the fan base right now is unified, and enough is enough, right? And this is why it's kind of an interesting conversation. You and I can both have it at a later date. Nico was the poster child for NIL. He's now potentially the course corrector, because this is the first time now for a player of his magnitude or a Power 4 team that was just in the CFP said, nope, we're out.
Not worth it.
No, we're not worth it.
That's
and for
what I
that
was
reason,
talking about
I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it's interesting to see if anybody else will follow this in the years to come. But anyway, what was the question again?
It was just talking about Josh Heupel.
Oh yeah, Josh.
I thought he did great.
He thanked Nico. Genuinely, I mean, I think he likes Nico's a good kid. I think Nico's a really good kid. I don't think this is all on Nico. I can tell you that. I think there are people around him that are, you know, helping urge and push, just like all these guys. I mean, Nico's not alone.
A lot of people behind the scenes.
But I thought Josh Heupel was phenomenal the other day, saying nobody's bigger than the Power T. And then he kind of got fired up a little bit, talking about the quarterbacks he's coached in the years past, young guys, old guys, pocket passers, mobile guys. He kind of went on a little bit of a flex there, saying, I won a lot of games with a lot of different quarterbacks. I've lost quarterbacks in week 6. I've lost quarterbacks on day 1 of spring practice, on day 1 of fall camp, and I've rallied and gone on to win conference title. So, yeah, sure, you're at Tennessee right now, a little bit of a different situation, but he's a winner. He's a competitor, and I thought he handled the other day just about as well as anybody could handle given the circumstances. He was frustrated, but boy, did he say all the right things. And I think thanking Nico, like, thanks for your time being here, best of luck, is the right move, man. I mean, it was
He looked like a head coach. He sounded like a head coach. He said what a head coach says, and I think that is going to win him a lot of points with the fan base for him to come out and say, "Hey, we're still here. We're not going to throw up. We're not going to throw a fit. We're not going to start a, verbal war on Twitter or anything like that. Nope. Okay, we got to go forward and see what is best." Eric Cain, Locked On Vols, great as always. I still have more thoughts on this. And by the way, there's something totally insane, kind of outside this situation, but also related to it, that you've got to hear. First, this episode brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. So now the quarterback market just feels like it has any number of possibilities in a given year. If Nico, who was just in the playoff and slated to be the starter by a lot, can transfer, who can't transfer? What is truly outside of the realm of possibility in today's world of college football? I don't know, but something I wanted to look back on because I saw this going around, and it's just worth noting that this is exactly what I'm talking about. So if you go back to the 2023 high school football recruiting class, oh boy, there were a lot of big names that came off the board at quarterback, as there are every single year. Here's where they wound up. The top 8 quarterbacks in the 2023 cycle. This is just 2 cycles ago from the class that just finished up, 3 cycles ago from the one everyone is working to complete right now. Arch Manning is still at Texas. He's the only person on this list that is at the same school he committed to coming out of high school. Nico is now in the portal. Dante Moore began at UCLA after flipping from Oregon. He's now back at Oregon, probably the starter in Eugene this fall. Jackson Arnold, not at Oklahoma anymore. He's at Auburn. Malachi Nelson, not at USC. He's at, can you name me the school? Can you name the school where Malachi Nelson might be the starting quarterback this fall? UTEP. Yeah, the Miners. That's where Malachi Nelson is. Pretty crazy. Jaden Rashada in the transfer portal. Aiden Childs, Michigan State, not Oregon State, went with his coach. Austin Mack did the same thing. Washington now down at Alabama, competing for the starting job with Ty Simpson and Keelan Russell, theoretically. So to see those guys have such disparate careers from where it looked like they are going to wind up, it's just emblematic of where college football is really at nowadays. Is that a good thing? I don't know. That depends on who you ask. For someone like me, hey, great content. I mean, the easiest content that I have had all spring, Nico, going into the transfer portal. But when I come across fans, and I came across one on the golf course just the other day, who are frustrated with college sports, disappointed that it's become so financially driven, that it's semi-pro ball. It's not really about playing for the school. It's about what the school can do for you, not what you can do for the school. Those sorts of fans are just getting more fodder every single week. This is not something that, they're just cherry picking a select few examples. No, every year, every week it feels, every month. I mean, there are players that go in the portal, you're like, wait, that guy? He's leaving? So the portal officially opens on Wednesday. We know Nico will be in the transfer portal, but what other craziness is going to be out there? Will the quarterback market heat up? Because in theory, right now, I'd say, no, I mean, I don't get the sense anyone wild is going to enter the transfer portal. Would you have picked this a week ago? This evolved so quickly. It went from, there might be a discussion about the contract that Nico has, to, there might be a little bit of friction here, to, he missed practice, to, he's going to transfer away from Tennessee, and Josh Heupel has to go have an emergency press conference to talk about what exactly happened, and no one cares what happened in the spring game because, well, Nico's not on the team anymore. That's an incredible escalation of events, and for that to go so quickly just makes me wonder, what's the craziest story going to be? Who's going in the transfer portal that you don't even have on your mind right now? Is there going to be a 2025 quarterback commit, which we've already had, by the way? Kinda. There are a lot of things, again, behind the scenes going down with JKS, five-star quarterback who committed to Oregon. He then flipped to Cal. He was always really supposed to and really always wanted to go to Cal. He was at Oregon for about an hour and a half, and not even that long maybe. And then he left to go be a Bear. That one was a little bit more expected. But again, is that going to be something that pops up again? Are we going to see a quarterback that just committed go somewhere else? Think about it. Think about it and tell me that it's crazy. Anytime you have the thought, no, that couldn't, just know it probably can. It probably can. That's what college football is nowadays. If you're frustrated by it, I'm not sitting here telling you to not do that. A lot of people, just adapt to it, get to the time. No, this is extreme. This is not normal. Okay? This is not, it's just the players having rights. Yeah, it's swung way too far in that direction. Way too far in that direction. Things that are pro-player can be anti-team/school and also anti-fan. We've swung the pendulum too far in the direction of being anti-fan in a lot of ways. I think this is just another example of that. You want to be frustrated? I'm not going to tell you to not. I am going to remind you that once teams start playing football in the fall, which we're just over 4 months away from, you're going to forget about this stuff really quickly. For now, I get it. Be frustrated, be annoyed, all that stuff. But don't give up on college football just because there's a frustrating element. Just recognize, I don't like this part of it. It's just not going anywhere. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.